Hey, Dan Meyer here, and today we're going to talk about the 4 attributes of a fully engaged virtual assistant, right? It's based on this post I saw on LinkedIn, and I thought it made a really good conversation piece. And I think it's really cool for both virtual assistants to think about what they can do to be fully engaged, what they need in a client, what they can need in a job, what they can do to be able to make it a more successful experience, as well as for the client. What are the things that you should be thinking about to ensure that you have a fully engaged VA? This only works if both parties are happy, right? If you need a VA and you're just looking for like the cheapest, quickest, fastest, easiest thing to do, you're probably going to end up being disappointed. Good virtual assistant relationships are like any other employee-employer relationship. Now, a VA may not be your employee, but they're going to be feeling like it. It's their job, right? And it's their livelihood to provide services through online. So if you're a client, think about that. And if you're an employee, think about the opposite. You are working for somebody who's doing their business. That is their passion. That is what makes them happy. What is their mission in life? And if you shortchange it and you don't put your passion into their passion, it's going to fall short. So these are things to think about when it comes to being fully engaged. Number 1, commit for the best. I'll talk about this in a few minutes, but you want to make sure that you're both committed, right? That both parties are committed for this to be successful. You want to allow for guidance, and this also goes both ways, right? The client should guide the VA, give them a chance to learn things, to onboard them, to get them used to working with them and what their expectations are. And the same way, the VA should be able to sometimes provide guidance to the client, communicate, offer suggestions, suggest things when things aren't working perfectly, come up with new ideas. The ideal relationship shows that both people are willing to take guidance from each other. The next is to keep real. Remind yourself of the reality of what you're doing. Remind yourself of why you're here. Don't lose focus on what you started in the first place, why you started doing your company, why you started looking for a VA job, why you hired a VA, why you're looking to build your career as a VA. On both sides, remind yourself why you started. And number 4, don't complain, right? To each other, try to be positive. You can have shared experiences that you want to commiserate, but you want to make sure that you're building things positive. And don't complain about necessarily the job, but complain about the fact that you're doing what you're doing is probably the best we got right now, right? We're in a situation where we got to work virtually, where we got to grow businesses virtually, where things are not ideal. So be a little more patient, be a little more understanding, and think about being the other side's shoes. You do this kind of stuff, you're going to have fully engaged VAs. So I'm going to go into the whole thing a little more in depth, each bullet point. But before I do that, I want to remind you a little bit about my story and my background, right? So I am all about virtual staffing because I've been doing this for a long time. I've had virtual assistants working for me for 10 years. And I've grown a business with over 100 virtual staff, supporting over 20 clients, where none of us work in the same physical location. All of my VAs work remotely from their homes. Most of my clients do all or most of their business from home. So it works. It works really well if you have the right people, the right technology, the right expectations. So I'll talk about the expectations piece a lot. And that's how I've been successful. I find the right people to work with and work for me, so it's a win-win on both sides. And I wanted to mention this. I can't tell you who created this, and if you're watching this video and you know where this 4 attributes of fully engaged employee comes from, I saw it on LinkedIn and I thought I grabbed the author, but obviously it's not on his visual, and I feel bad about using it, but it inspired me, right? So props to you for creating this, and please let me know if you know who this is so I can give them the appropriate recognition. But their post was about the 4 attributes of fully engaged employees. Allow guidance, commit for the best, remind yourself enough and complaining. I think it's really more kind of like thinking like a traditional corporate HR environment where you want to make sure that your employees are engaged and you have good, solid, employee morale and they're productive and happy. But I'm going to apply the lessons I saw from that to what I think about with virtual staffing. Based on my experience at Wells Fargo, I got the whole corporate background. I understand tons about HR. I've worked closely in that arena for quite a bit of my career, but I've also grown my own businesses, my own teams, right? So I know what it takes to have happy, satisfied employees. And I've learned from that these lessons that really mirror what the author of this image did. So we're going to dive into each one. The first one is commit for the best. Make a pledge to give your best and deliver what's expected from you, right? Customer service goes both ways, right? It's not just taking care of each other, it's taking care of everyone, right? So you hire someone to help you care about your customers. Whether they're doing customer service or they're creating products or they're doing visualizations or they're creating things on social media, they're sharing your story, they're making your videos, whatever VA's doing, you're doing it for your customers. right? So both of you have to keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you empower the VA to do things in a way that you want them done. And the VA has to understand he needs to do things, or she needs to do things in the voice of their client. It has to be seamless because the customer doesn't care if a VA did it or not. They just want to make sure it's what they ordered, what they wanted, what they're looking for. That all has to happen because both of you are committed for the best. So spend the time. Take 15 minutes on your next time you talk with your VA and talk about, how do you both make sure that you're committed to make sure that you provide the best possible service, product, deliverable for your clients. Just have that conversation, make a pledge to keep doing it. If you understand each other's expectations here, you're going to provide great service, and that's the key. You want to allow guidance, clear in thoughts, right? You want to keep learning, right? You're not going to hire a VA who knows everything, and you're not going to work for a client who will train you on everything. Expectations have to be realistic, right? You have to get to know each other better. Some VAs are rock stars at some things and okay at others. So you want to really maximize what they're best at and not force them to do things they're not good at. It won't work, right? So, for example, I'm not good at creating graphic designs. I just don't have the artistic talent. I don't have an eye for it. So I don't create a lot of cool, compelling visuals. But I hire a team that does, right? My team makes all the visuals you're seeing here on this video. They're all things that are bold, easy to read, clear. They follow our brand standards. Everything is in greens and blues because that's the color of our logo. That's what you want to have, right? You want to make sure that things are clear, and you can make sure you set expectations for your VA to follow your brand standards, to follow your marketing, to make it seem like it's coming from your brain, not theirs. It should be simpatico, right? At the same time, from the VA perspective, ask your client, right? Ask a lot of questions, right? If you work for a client who tells you you're asking too many questions, then it's probably the wrong client to work for. You want to be engaged with each other, right? You want to keep learning. Now, what you'll find is that if you front load this, if the first couple of weeks you work together, you spend a couple hours together, maybe an hour or two a day for the first couple of days and an hour or two a week for the first couple of weeks, you're going to find that you're going to work out really well. But if you expect somebody to come on and do things day one, it's not going to happen. And if you don't give feedback and you don't have conversations, it's not going to happen. But if you do front load the expectations and you do have clear thoughts and you do allow guidance, over a couple of weeks, you're going to find the VAs are operating independently. There are some of my team members who I've had on my team for 10 years, and I hardly ever talk to them. They love what they do. We get along really well. They're just completely independent and are able to do things and run their part of the business without me having to give a lot of insight. We chat when we need to. We check in on each other, make sure we're okay, greet each other, on important days in each other's lives, but we don't actually have to chat. Sometimes we go a couple weeks without interaction. I don't encourage that for new situations, but long-term ones like mine, that's where you're going to be if you and your VA are on the same page. Okay, the next one are remind yourself, right? When we constantly remember why we're here in the first place. Why did we start our business? Why do we need to have a VA help us in our business? Don't lose track of these things, right? You got too busy to do it for yourself. You had to delegate some things to be able to free up your time. To be able to scale, to grow your business, you have to have help. The VA, why are you doing this? It's a good job. You can provide for your family. You're able to work from home. You're able to use your skills based on technology and different apps and tools out there to help somebody else run their business, grow their dream, be part of what they want to do. When you remind yourself of this, it's really important because we want to make sure that we're both fulfilling each other. It only works if we both understand each other's why. So take a few minutes to understand your VA as a person. Take a few minutes to understand your employer as a person, your client as a person. It will take you a long way. I encourage you to share a few things. You don't have to become BFF right away, but share a few things. Make sure you know each other's birthdays. Make sure you know each other's, what your family situation is like. Maybe not the first day, but within the first couple of days. Have a little bit of a conversation about that, and it will help you long term. So care about each other by reminding yourself. And the last of the 4 parts of caring for the job is enough of complaining. You're accountable for what you do, right? The buck stops here for both of you, right? So I feel like I'm already mediating the situation where I have a VA and a client who just are misfiring and I have to have a conversation to get them back on the same page. So what that looks like is the client has huge expectations and they probably have an unrealistic timeline. You want everything done and you want it done right away. And I'll tell you right now, the key to success is not to give them everything. You want to do what I call master the horizontal before you go vertical. You want your VA to be able to do one thing really, really well, every aspect of it, and then add on as they kind of level up, right? You don't want to give them everything and just hope they can sink or swim. That will not work. Now, I know you're busy and you're paying money for this and you want to make sure you're getting good value, but believe me, start with one thing, master it, and then move on. That's the best way to avoid being in a situation where you're just having misfires of expectations. Now, for the VA, think about the same thing. What do you do well and what do you need to learn? What are the things that you can start out doing and making a difference, and what are the things that you need to level up on? You want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of both. And it's going to take learning and patience and practice. You may have to invest some of your own time. You're not going to get training from the client most of the time. One of the biggest misconceptions for virtual assistants is that they're going to be trained like they would if they went to work for a company. You go to work for McDonald's, you expect to go through a couple days of training, right? That's not going to happen when you're with a VA situation. It's just not reality, right? You're hired by somebody who's busy and knows what they need done and they want it to get done and boom, off their plate. So you will need to get training, but it's not going to be this like step by step by step, do this, followed by this, followed by this. And a lot of times you're going to have to make it up yourself. You're going to have to be able to be accountable for your own learning. So don't complain, take a deep breath, put yourself into their shoes and try to figure out what it is that you're accountable for and share that. Right? This is how you care. Care about each other, the VA caring about the client caring about the VA, and both of you working together to care about your customers. That's how you're successful. This is what we do at Sonic VA. We look for VAs who have the ability to care, and they have the skill sets to take that caring and be able to do something special to help a client do things like manage your LinkedIn accounts or media bookings or book promotions or YouTube videos, whatever it is you need done in your business. We find you the right VA to do that for you, because we want you, this is our motto at Sonic VA, focus on what you do best, hire for all the rest. So that's really what our goal is, right? So when we think about caring, that's how we do it. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope these tips helped you. This is one of those videos where I designed it just as much for the VA as the client, because it's all about the two of you working together to synergize. And once you have one VA, maybe you'll add another one, but that first VA will be crucial, right? They'll be the one that sets the stage for all the rest. And for a client, when you think about hiring a VA, if it's your first VA, remember it's probably not going to work perfectly right away. Most take time. A couple weeks to a month minimum. Be realistic. You do that and you're going to be great. Okay, so I want to thank you for your time, for watching my video. Feel free to drop comments below if you have any feedback, any ideas about future videos I should deliver. If you want to get a VA, go to sonicva.com. If you want to be a VA working for us, go to sonicva.com, sonicva.com. You can either apply for a job there, or you can hire a VA, or you can just ask for a quote. If you're just thinking, maybe I want a VA, I'm not sure what they're going to do, send us a quick message. Tell us kind of a couple of things you're thinking you may want to outsource. I'll get back to you. We'll have a conversation. We'll get you the VA that will be the perfect match for you within a couple days. So there you go. Again, thanks for your time. Pleasure talking to you. I look forward to all of you enjoying future videos. Now go out there and have a great day.